looked at it from the provider's point of view and the technology point of view. We really sort of missed the learner's perspective, what young people, teenagers are really doing. And that's happened over the last 20, 30 years, that continually we miss out some important thing that young people are doing, and usually it's to do with teenagers and social networking. So SMS was a thing that took everybody by surprise, then YouTube, then MySpace. So if we really want to find out where the exciting stuff is going to happen, it's to do with teenagers and social networking. So 2017, what are they going to be doing? Well, particularly mobile wide area gaming. So taking their games out into the real world. I mean, that's the real opportunity. So having the whole world as a game space. And then the blending of the virtual world and the real world. So at the moment, in 2007, we've got Second Life. In 2017, we'll have Second Life that's blended with real life. So that you can play your virtual games in the real world. Those sorts of things are going to have real importance for learning. For example, if you want to learn a language, then you just go into the foreign language space and you interact with people in the foreign language, and they learn your language, you learn their language. If you want to learn about a foreign city, you go into that city world. So there'll be lots of ways, I think, in which that social networking will be combining the real world and the virtual world. That's the exciting.
And it satisfies.
It
satisfies children.
Is, in the words of William Gibson, the science fiction author, that the future's already here, it's just not evenly distributed. I mean, if you look back 10 years to 1997, from 2007, all the things that happening in 2007 were happening then. The World Wide Web was there, children were using handheld computers in schools. Anyone remember the Psion PDA or the Apple Newton? It's just that there weren't that many of them doing it. So one way to look to 2017 is to think about what's happening in the research labs in 2007, and that will be mainstream in 2017. Things like contextual and ambient technology, location-aware computers, a lot of that will be mainstream in 2017. So one possibility is it's just what's happening in a small area now will be widespread in 10 years' time. But possibly, just possibly, we're at the start of a more radical change in education. And we've seen that sort of transformation in entertainment over the last 50 years, from people going into concert halls or cinemas, and then entertainment in the home, and now people carrying around entertainment on their iPods and their MP3 players. Even a conservative industry like banking has gone through a major change. So why hasn't education yet gone through that really major transformation? And I think there are a couple of reasons. One is in loco parentis, that schools have a very important role in childcare. And when you've got two parents who are going out to work, then sending your children to school is a very important and necessary thing to do. And also universities, colleges, schools provide examining and quality assured accreditation. And those are all necessary services, but they're not a lot to do with learning. Okay? So until recently, there hasn't really been a business model for learning outside the classroom. Not a major business model in the way that it happened with entertainment. Yes, there have been some distance learning organisations that have been very successful, but we've lacked high quality, personalised, particularly informal learning. But that's just starting to change. And Wikipedia is probably the most subversive educational tool ever invented yet. Because instead of one organisation producing this massive encyclopedia, which would be impossible nowadays, it's a million people who are producing it and continually keeping it up to date. And that's the kind of model for the future. An entrepreneur in India producing learning content and services which are then marketed throughout the world. Or a teacher in China offering Chinese language tuition to students in the UK or in the US. And again, that's already happening. So I think children, particularly teenagers, are engaging in richer and richer learning outside formal education. And there's a nice quote from one of the vector studies of children and their attitude towards technology and learning, which is, when I come into school, I have to power down. So that children are doing rich learning that they can't do in the classroom. So by 2017, I think these tensions and fault lines are going to be really evident. I don't think there's going to be huge change by 2017 in educational structure, but the fault lines will be there. The recognition that learning can take place anywhere, children need powerful personal tools for learning and need to develop the skills to use them effectively, and that they need spaces to reflect on what they're learning. So many schools will allow mobile phone technology into the classroom and will have learned how to manage them. They're beginning to realise that learning is a lifelong and a life-wide activity, and that we need to find ways to help young people to learn through conversation, through resource sharing, through rich media creation, instead of banning it in the classroom. So I think that we will be halfway towards what I think could be quite a major transformation in education by 2017. That's my prediction.
Thank you very much.